This is the Engwe X20 e-bike. My name is Owen, and today I'm going to give you a no-nonsense review of this cool little e-bike. Well, little might not be the right word for it, but I'll get to that in just a few minutes. You see, Engwe reached out to us because we have a YouTube channel and we have e-bikes. And they said they'd love to send it to us because, in their opinion, it's the coolest e-bike out there. So it arrived yesterday via FedEx, and I've unboxed it and I've assembled it. And now it's time to answer that question. It is heavy, but is it too heavy to take with us? Would we recommend it, and would we buy it with our own money? So far that was 24 miles an hour. Pretty cool. Going up a hill now, and it's doing really well with hills. See if I can go back the way I came without pedaling, for those that would use just the throttle. 24, 26, 27, 28. It is a cool bike, and I really like it. Some of the things I really like about it: dual batteries. It has one battery that you can get to when you unfold the bike, and it is foldable. And the other battery, the second battery, actually makes up the seat post, which is an Ingenious Design. And because of all that battery power, it has a range of over 50 miles when you're just using the throttle, and up to 124 miles if you'll help it by pedaling. So once you get over the shock of 92 pounds, you'll find that the shock of riding is not that bad. In fact, this thing is the first one I've ever seen that has 3 sets of shock absorbers. It has hydraulic shocks in the front, it has a mechanical shock in the middle underneath the seat, and it has air suspension shocks in the back. And I don't know about you, but looking at it, it reminds me more of a motorcycle than an e-bike, and it just looks cool and tough. It has a 1,000-watt peak motor, and it has a top speed of 31 miles per hour. It has a really good display that you can see even in the brightest sunlight. It displays a lot of information, but you can get to it really easily. And of all the displays I've seen on a bike, I like this one the best. Not only is this display easy to see and has a lot of great information, but it's very easy to personalize. You hit the plus and minus and bring up this personalization menu, bring that up, go down to power set, and then look at what you can do. It's going to come with the default of power modes 1 through 5, but you can set that to be 0 through 7, 1 through 7, 0 through 9, or 1 through 9, and you can even take it down to so there are only 3 power modes that you have. And not only do you have these power modes, inside of each one of these you can adjust the percentage of full throttle. P1, P2, P3, all those have. It has a really good quality 8-speed Shimano shifter. And the gear beside of the pedal, while it's mostly aimed towards helping you get to top speed, with the power assist, you can climb most hills that you need to climb with it. And with those shocks, even the biggest potholes or the bumpiest roads, it's really smooth to ride. And I'd have to say, of all the e-bikes I've ever been on, this is the most comfortable to ride on the road and on a trail. So with so many things to love, there are a few that we think outweigh those. First of all, 92 pounds. A bike with both batteries in it that weighs 92 pounds. Now, that's going to be really difficult to lift up onto any bike carrier that you have, no matter who you are. It's going to be cumbersome to lift up. Even if you fold it, maybe even more cumbersome then. And couple with that the fact that if you travel in an RV, there are very few bike carriers that can handle a bike of 92 pounds, let alone 2 that weigh that much. So inside of this tube, there is a battery. Inside of the seat post, there's another battery. I'm wondering, if you remove both batteries, does the bike become more manageable? Can you then, say with one person, lift it up and put it on a bike rack? So let's take the batteries out of here and we'll see. Now, taking the heaviest battery, which is the one that's in the seat post out, all that entails is just unscrewing the power supply that's here, taking it off, pulling the release, and then lifting the battery. And then now I'm going to do my best to unfold this bike, which is not that easy to do. And you see that? It gets to be, look at this. This is like crazy. All right. So I can remove the battery now. And I can tell you it weighs maybe 3 pounds, maybe 4 pounds. So it doesn't save that much weight. We would probably travel just like this battery in the bike, and we would never unfold it to be able to save that 3 to 4 pounds. I just don't think that would be worth it. So we'll just fold this back up. One person, I guess it's easier to fold up than it was to unfold. So now can I lift this up by myself to put it on a bike rack? Let's see. It's not easy, but by taking the seat post off, it does make it easier to do. It goes back in pretty easily, slides down, close it up, and this even locks in place so that it can't be stolen. The 92 pounds comes in when you lift it and when you have to carry it. But when you're out riding, you'll also see that 92 pounds also has an impact on how nimble it is when you're riding down the road. Now, if you're just on a paved bike trail, I think you're not going to notice it very much. But if you get this thing off where there are bumps and there are tight corners and there are tight places you need to go through, it is not as nimble as a 30, 40, or even 50 pound e-bike would be. I mentioned it does have pedal assist. What it doesn't have, that I've found hard to get used to, is it doesn't have cadence-based pedal assist. Now, what does that mean? When you're pedaling, really all you're doing when you turn the pedals is you're telling it, if you've got it on level 1, I want you to go 6 miles an hour no matter how fast I'm pedaling the pedals. If you're by yourself, you may find that to be a little cumbersome, but if you're with a group of people or you're riding in traffic, it can be downright dangerous because you can't really control the speed the bike's going unless you're always giving it more speed than the pedal assist is providing. E-bikes seem to all be on the same trend. And one of those trends, and one that we don't particularly like, is its email-based support and service. So if something breaks, you email the company, they send you an invoice or a replacement part, and then they mail or ship that part to you. Now that works out really well if you're at home and you don't need your bike for a couple of weeks. Call me old-fashioned, but I prefer being able to go into a bike shop, see a guy that works on bikes every day and say, my battery's messed up. And for him to say, oh, we carry Engwe, I have extra batteries here, I'll put one in and I'll send this one in under support. And we're back on the road. You're not seeing that very often on these email web-based purchases. And, there are very few companies that you can buy from that you can actually go into a shop and get it repaired. And unfortunately, Engwe is not one of them. So let's talk about the big question. Can we recommend this as a bike for you to buy? Well, like a lot of things in life, I think you just have to say that depends. It depends on what you want to use the bike for and what's most important to you. We can say this without any kind of worry at all. If you're looking for a bike that's in the price range of this Engwe X20, we think it at least deserves for you to look at it, because there are so many features that are better than a lot of bikes in this price range. Like, for example, this display is awesome. It has hydraulic brakes, 2 batteries. It has the most range of anything I've seen in this price range. And with all those shocks, it's really, really comfortable. Now, so you have to decide, are those the things that are most important to you? And are those things worth putting up with the fact that it is a folding bike and it is a little heavy? Only you can decide. If you do decide you want to buy it or you want to do more research, I'll put a link to their website and to our Amazon page with this bike on it so you can see what the current price is, and we'll also list any of the discounts that are relevant right now. So that leads us to the question, would we buy this with our own money and would we take it on trips with us? Well, the answer to that for 3 reasons is no. The first reason is pretty obvious. You put anything on this like a bag or a basket or anything that you're taking with you, and you can easily get this thing up into 100 or 110 pounds. And that's not only difficult to lift, it's a little bit more difficult to ride with as well, especially on bumpy roads. And the second reason we probably would not choose to use this bike on a trip, it is a folding bike. Now that may sound crazy. We've had 2 folding bikes in the past, and what we've learned, we very rarely, if ever, unfold them. So the fact that they're heavier and sturdier to support that, and that's one more thing that can fail. Our next bike, we don't want a folding bike. Now you may love that, and it may be the only way you can store it in whatever you're carrying it in. But for us, we have a bike rack, and we prefer to have a bike that we don't have to fold and unfold, especially as you saw how hard it is to do that and get to the battery. And third, and maybe most important, this bike is just like most other e-bikes on the market. In order to get a repair, you have to email the company and then wait on them to email back. Now, if you've watched our videos in the past, you know that if you're at home, maybe that'll work, and it has worked for us in the past as well. But if you're traveling and you're moving from place to place, that becomes almost impossible for you to make that work while you're out on the road. So for that reason, Lynn and I would prefer to have a bike that you can take to a local bike shop, and to us, that's extremely important. So for those 3 reasons, this is not the bike for us. But that doesn't mean it's not the bike for you. And I hope the video has been helpful in helping you decide if that's the case. If you have any questions I haven't answered about this bike, just leave it in the comments below and I'll be glad to help you do that. Remember, there's a discount code down here for you to use if you decide to buy this bike. You may as well get it for the best price you can get right now. And we hope we see you out on a trail or maybe at a campsite somewhere soon. And until then, enjoy getting out in nature. Happy trails.